Good morning, Acting Secretary Sue. Good to have you here. Just to make sure I have your background correct, you were the Secretary of the Labor and Workforce Development Agency in California from 2019 to 2021?
Correct.
And you were the California Labor Commissioner from 2011 to 2018?
Correct.
So in your Senate testimony in April, you touted President Biden's economic record. You said the results speak for themselves. And you specifically cited the unemployment rate. You said it's been less than 4% for more than a year, which is close to the lowest it's been in 50 years. Do you happen to know how your home state of California is doing when it comes to the unemployment rate there versus other states?
Thank you very much, Congressman. I don't know what the current unemployment rate in California is.
So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, California currently has the second highest unemployment rate in the nation. Does that sound right?
I don't know. I trust that you have that correct.
So if a low unemployment rate, by your own testimony, is a sign of good economic stewardship, what does it tell us about California that it has the nation's second highest unemployment rate?
So thank you very much for that question, Congressman. You are correct that we share a home state and that I was the labor secretary for from 2019 to 2021, and prior to that, the labor commissioner, where my job was to enforce wage and hour laws in workplaces.
Right, we've established that. So the question about the unemployment rate, which by the way was similar during your tenure, 2020, 2021, California was first, second, or third highest unemployment rate in the country. So you yourself have said at a low unemployment rate says we're doing a good job. What does it mean that California has a high unemployment rate?
I think, Congressman, we would likely agree that there are lots of measures of what makes a strong economy, and there's lots of ways to look at, obviously it makes sense for us to try to address high unemployment, because having people who are looking for jobs be able to do jobs, and having people who are in jobs be able to upskill and get to better jobs is a goal that I know we share,
so
but I don't think it's...
Let's talk about a couple other measures. You said in your testimony in April, too many people still work full-time year-round and live in poverty. According to the latest Census Bureau data, the supplemental poverty measure, do you happen to know which state has the highest real poverty rate in the country?
I don't know that, sir.
It actually happens to be California. And do you happen to know, according to a recent report from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, where California ranks when it came to net earnings growth this last year?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
California was 50th out of 50. So if our goals are to reduce unemployment, reduce poverty, and to increase wages, is California really the best model, given that it is the absolute worst in the country of the 50 states by all of these measures?
Again, Congressman, I think that there are lots of measures for how well an economy is doing. My understanding, and I haven't worked in California now for 2 years, but is that by some measures, including recovery from the pandemic, including decrease in poverty over the last few years, recovering since the pandemic, that California has
Okay, I just want to reiterate, though, these were the very measures that you yourself cited in your own testimony. And your state of California, where you led the Labor Department, is doing the worst in the country. So let's move on to AB 5, which is a law that you were charged with enforcing in California. Were you involved, now I know you weren't in the legislature, but were you involved in the drafting of AB 5, including any conversations with the author or the interest groups that helped draft it?
Thank you, Congressman. As I think it has been established, and as you know, I was never part of the California legislature.
Right, as I just said. But were you involved in any way in the drafting of AB 5?
I did not draft AB 5.
Were you involved in any way in the drafting of it?
No, sir.
Did you support the law?
Well, my job as labor secretary was to enforce the laws that were passed by the legislature. It's the same role I have.
I understand that, but
here.
Did you ever express support for AB 5?
I expressed the need to enforce laws that are passed by the legislature, and that is the same thing that we've done.
My question was, did you express support specifically for AB 5 at any time?
I may have, sir. I know we're talking a lot about what I did in California.
You may have. Do you think it was a good law, AB 5?
Do I think AB 5 was a good law? I think that it is both my job now as the acting secretary of labor and the job of that I had in California as the labor secretary and the labor commissioner to enforce laws that are passed
right, but that's not what I asked. What I asked was, do you think AB 5 is a good law?
I don't know what I mean. I don't know. I don't. Tell me what. Give me a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Do you think it was a good law for the state? Is it good that it passed?
I think that, when AB 5 was first signed, one of the things that I did in my role as labor secretary in California was create we reached out to employers and worked with
My time
the
is running out.
chamber.
I just want to give you one last chance, Acting Secretary Sue. Is AB 5 a good law, yes or no?
I think it's an important role of the government to help employers to comply with laws
Yes
that
or
are
no?
passed by the legislature.
Is AB 5 a good law?
But also it's important to enforce laws that are passed.
I don't
yield
think,
back.
was our
Mr.
charge.
Kiley, that you're going to get the witness to answer truthfully. I now recognize Mr.